Can you imagine that in 2026, the world's only superpower, America, could be defeated by a country it has sanctioned for the past 40 years? This isn't my claim. It comes from Professor Sane, whose two predictions about Donald Trump have already come true. Now the world is waiting for his third prediction.
This war, which will forever change the global order.
It is a chilling prediction from a game theory expert, and it is rapidly moving toward reality. If it turns out to be true, then within the next 6 months, the money in your bank account could become worthless paper, and the global order could change forever. In this video, we will expose the secret script that mainstream media is hiding from you. We will see how Iran's cheap drones are shaking America's trillion-dollar military pride. And most importantly, is Donald Trump pushing the world toward destruction just to extend his power under emergency war authority? In the next few minutes, you're about to see a side of reality that most of the world hasn't even imagined. Professor Sane's first prediction was that Donald Trump would win the election again, and it came true. His second prediction was that once Trump returned to power, a major war would break out between the United States and Iran, and that also happened. But his third prediction shocked everyone, that in this war, the world's greatest superpower, the United States, would suffer a devastating defeat. This is not just a prediction, it is backed by logical arguments. Let's get straight to the point. According to Professor Sane, Iran hasn't been preparing for this war for a year or two, but for the past 20 years. In Iran's ideological framework, this is seen as a final battle against what they consider the Great Satan. Last year's conflict gave Iran valuable experience. They didn't just attack, they carefully studied the strengths, weaknesses, and defense systems of both the US and Israel. Then they had 8 months to prepare. During that time, negotiations weren't about peace, it was about buying time. The most important part of Iran's strategy is that it is not fighting directly. Instead, it is using proxies. Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Palestine, Shia militias in Iraq and Syria. These groups now understand how the US thinks and fights. Their goal is not just to kill soldiers, but to destroy the American empire and the global economic system. Instead of attacking the US directly, they are targeting the real backbone of the American economy, Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and Bahrain. Iran's strategy is extremely dangerous. They are targeting energy infrastructure, water systems. These countries rely heavily on desalination plants for drinking water, over 60%. Professor Sane gave a terrifying example. A cheap Iranian drone costing just a few $100s could destroy a major desalination plant in Riyadh. Within 2 weeks, a city of 10 million people could run out of drinking water. Imagine an entire city facing death from thirst. At the same time, Iran is threatening critical maritime routes like the Strait of Hormuz, through which 90% of food and supplies arrive. People think this will only cause inflation, but in reality, it threatens the very survival of these nations. And these Gulf countries are essential to the US economy. Why? Because of the petrodollar system. They sell oil in dollars, maintaining global demand for the currency, and then reinvest those dollars into the US economy, especially in AI and tech. If oil stops exports, Gulf economies collapse, investments in the US stop, the AI-driven stock market bubble bursts. Professor Sane calls this a financial Ponzi scheme. Now the question is, why can't the world's most powerful military stop cheap drones? Because the US military structure is built on Cold War thinking, expensive, complex systems. But modern warfare is asymmetric. Cheap weapons can destroy expensive systems. There was even an incident where one incoming missile required 11 interceptor missiles and still wasn't stopped. Meanwhile, Iran's Shahed drones cost very little, are domestically produced, fly low and hard to detect, carry explosives efficiently. Using million-dollar missiles to destroy $50,000 drones is not sustainable. America is running out of interceptor missiles and even using reserves meant for Asia. This signals the decline of American dominance. If this continues, the petrodollar system collapses, the world shifts to a multipolar order. Another key point: no country in history has achieved regime change through airstrikes alone. Ground troops are necessary. But US officials have clearly stated they do not plan to deploy ground forces in Iran. However, pressure from allies like Israel and Gulf countries may force them to reconsider. So why did Donald Trump enter such a dangerous war? Professor Sane gives 3 reasons. 1. Overconfidence. After a small successful operation in Venezuela, Trump overestimated US military strength, similar to Hitler's mistake against the Soviet Union. 2. Political and financial gain. Trump benefits personally. Saudi investments linked to his family, financial backing from pro-Israel donors. There is even speculation about extending his presidency under wartime powers. 3. Secret power structures. Professor Sane claims that hidden global groups influence world events. Vatican-linked groups, Zionist power structures, Freemason networks. According to this theory, they believe a final war in the Middle East is necessary to establish a new world order. In conclusion, even if the US wins this war, it could still be considered a loss. As seen in Iraq, Libya, Syria, and Afghanistan, interventions often backfire. An attack on Iran could be another strategic disaster. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and share. See you in the next one.